I noticed it because the picture was facing away from where I sit. There's a framed photo on a shelf in my living room. It usually faces the couch. That's just how it sits. One evening after work, I noticed it was angled slightly away. Not knocked over. Just turned toward the window. I rotated it back and didn't think much of it. The next night, it was turned again, this time toward the hallway. I stood there for a moment, longer than before. I knew I hadn't touched it. I went to work the next day and forgot about it. When I came home that evening, I cooked dinner and sat down like usual. That's when I noticed the frame had moved again. That was when I started paying attention. Over the next few days, I noticed other things. A second frame on a different shelf wasn't facing straight anymore. A small decorative bowl on the coffee table had shifted closer to the edge. Nothing was missing. Nothing was broken. I told myself I just hadn't noticed these things before. One night before bed, I turned the picture frame so it faced completely away from the couch. I remember doing it. When I came home from work the next day, it was facing the room again. I checked the door. It was locked. After that, I stopped fixing anything. Once I stopped correcting things, the changes became easier to notice. Frames angled differently. Small items repositioned just enough that I couldn't ignore them. I thought maybe the superintendent had been entering my apartment while I was gone. The building was old. People had keys. I asked him about it. He said he hadn't been inside my unit. He said maintenance hadn't reported anything. I didn't call the police. I didn't know what I would tell them. Instead, I bought a small camera and pointed it at the front door. A few nights later, while I was still at work, I checked the footage. Someone unlocked my door. The person was tall and thin, wearing a dark hoodie. The camera didn't capture their face. They entered my apartment and closed the door behind them. They were inside for about 12 minutes. When they left, they locked the door again. I watched the clip again. Slower this time. Right before he reached for the lock, he stopped. He just stood there a second longer than he needed to. Like he noticed something was off. Then he tilted his head slightly. Not toward the hallway, toward the camera. Then he locked the door and left. I watched the clip several times. It wasn't the superintendent. That night, when I got home, everything in my apartment looked normal. Nothing was missing. Nothing was out of place. I called the police the next day. They said they would look into it. They asked if anything had been taken. Nothing had. A few days later, while I was walking home in the evening, I noticed someone standing across the street near my building. Tall. Thin. I didn't recognize him. He wasn't doing anything. When I got inside, I checked the camera footage again. It was the same person. I moved out the following week. The police told me they would follow up. They never did. I didn't ask again.